Hi guys, and welcome to Siska Stitches. Today's tutorial is going to be on how to cut and sew this free-sized organza blouse with no pattern, no zipper, no buttons, and of course no darts. It's free size. So guys, if you're new to my channel, I say welcome. If you're an old subscriber, I say welcome back. Do click the subscribe button if you've not done so yet, and also click the notification bell so you get notified whenever Siska Stitches post new videos. And now we can go ahead and begin the tutorial process. So guys, I have my fabric folded into two already. I folded it to the length I want the blouse to be, as you can see. So this is what I have, and I made sure I pressed this organza fabric because it is very fluid. It moves very easily. I'm going to fold it again into two along that crease that I have made. I actually press this down so that it will be easy for me to fold. So guys, this is what I have, and I'm going to use my pins to hold it in place. I did all this because organza fabric is very fluid. It moves very easily. So in order not to make cutting frustrating for you, I did all this. So now we're going to start with the neckline now, and we'll be working on the back. So I marked 1 inch for the neckline. I'm going to explain everything to you. And then for the neck width, I'm going to mark 4 inches. Now, the neck width is excluding seam allowance. So I'm going to add half an inch, my bias allowance of half an inch, because we'll be using bias for this. In essence, my neck width is going to become 4.25 inches after I'm done sewing. For the back, I want it to be exactly 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 0.25 inches seam allowance upwards, because we'll be placing our bias at that exact 1 inch. So I have allowance there. My shoulder measurement is 14 divided by 2, that's 7. So I'm marking the remainder there on that line, because your neck is always cut out from your shoulder measurement. And then from this point, from the end of the shoulder measurement, I'm going to mark the sleeve. You're basically doing your neckline, your shoulder, and then your sleeve on one line. I'm going to make this about 10 inches and then add my seam allowance of 0.25 inches. So guys, this is not up to 14. 14 is always my elbow length from my shoulder, but well, this is the amount of fabric I have, so you can decide to make that longer if you want. So I'm going to measure all this from the center front or the center back, as the case may be, because we're cutting the two of them together, the front and the back. So whatever I have there, which is about 17, I'm going to bring it down. So the reason we've actually folded this into 4 is because we are doing the back and the front at the same time. What I'm going to do now is do the sleeve opening. I'll be using my armhole as reference. So my armhole is about 8.25. So I'm just going to make this a total of 9. Yeah, I'm just going to make it 9. Just add a little bit. Because this is free, this opening is going to be very easy for me to, insert my hand. So after marking this down now, we're going to go ahead and, mark a straight line from that point inwards. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So you can do that all the way to the center front or the center back. That is up to you. So what I'm doing now is marking my bust measurement divided by 4, so which is 9. Please ignore that line, which is 9. And I'm going to be adding 2.5 inches to this. So I'm going to add 2.5 inches. You can add more to this, that's up to you. So I add 2.5 inches, and then yeah, that is what we have, and then the remainder will serve as part of the sleeve. What I'm going to do now is mark the waistline. My waistline is about 16. I'm going to go ahead and mark my hip line, and I'm going with 24, which is just a little bit above my hip, and I'm adding half an inch for allowance. Guys, whatever I do at that side, I'm going to repeat the same thing towards the fold of the fabric, mark 24.5, and then what I'm going to do now is connect it all the way down. So I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4, which is about 10.25, and then we can add about 2 inches or 2.5 inches. It depends on you, or more actually. And then what I'm going to do now is connect that from the hip, and I'm using the waist to sort of like create a curve. That mark on my waist sort of like create a curve around that point, and then just connect it right there to my armhole. So ensure that that place around your armhole is not sharp. Ensure that it is curved. So my waist divided by 4 is about 7.25 inches, and you can see that I have a lot more allowance around my waist. If you want to mark your waist, make sure you add 4 inches to your waist, not the same thing you did for your bust and your hip. So I'm connecting the sleeve opening now, and what I'm going to do now is connect the neckline as well. So I just connect it all the way to the point, so the 0.75 neck depth to the 4 inches neck width, and I go ahead and cut it out. Follow the curves, follow everything. So I'm cutting the neckline now for the back, and I'm going to show you guys how I cut the front. So what I did in order to cut the front was to grab the center front and fold it the other way around. So I folded it this way, grab the center front and fold it this way. So right here is the shoulder seam. Where my hand is moving is the shoulder seam. So what I'm going to do now is to mark my center front neckline. I remember we've cut off 1 inch before, and our neckline is supposed to be a total of 4 inches. So instead of marking 3 inches, I'm going to mark 2.75 inches. Like I said, we're using bias to turn this. So 2.75 inches. The 3-inch mark on the fabric is where I'm going to place my bias to sew. And then I'm going to connect my shoulder seam to the neckline, and then we're going to cut. So just create a curve that is okay for you, and then we're going to cut this. So be careful so you don't cut more than the shoulder area. And then this is what we have. You can see that there is the center, that there is the shoulder line, and right here is the back neckline, there is the front. So you can see there's a bit of difference. So I grab it by the shoulder seam and then just flip it right back, and then this is what we have, guys. You can see the front is longer than the back, or lower than the back. So we're going to be sewing this by a seam allowance of 1/2 inch. I'm just going to sew that right there. And then this is what we have after sewing. Instead of concealing this with an overlock seam, I'm going to use a bias because organza fabric can be quite itchy, as in very, very itchy. In order not to be uncomfortable on your dress, use a bias. And then for the bottom, we're going to be folding it and sewing on it. Basically, we are going to be hemming the bottom of this blouse. So guys, I've sewn the bias tape. As you can see, I've sewn it on one end of the fold, and we're going to be flipping this over, and we're not going to do that once so that the raw edge of the bias doesn't show on the other side. So we're going to fold it and then fold it again so that it is able to conceal the raw edge of the bias and properly conceal the raw edges of the seam as well. You can actually do that once, but I decided to do it twice, and then we're going to repeat the same thing for the sleeve opening, for the neckline, and then for the bottom of the blouse we are going to hem it. So I'm going to show you guys how it looks now, and this is what we've been able to achieve after concealing all the raw edges of the bias. So if you do it this way, your outfit is not going to itch you, because organza can be very, very itchy. This is the double fold of the bias that I did. You will notice that the width of the bias is not going to be about 0.5 inches, it's going to be about 0.25 inches. This is what I have, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was helpful to you. Please click the subscribe button if you've not done so, and also click the notification bell so you get notified whenever Siska Stitches post new videos. Bye guys.